stop making the same mistake that most women make when they're getting to know a guy. Usually they try to make a guy fall in love and it looks too forced. And some women try to give up the poom poom as a way to keep him there. Both methods are too direct and it doesn't go with how men truly fall in love. So I'm gonna show you, and these illustrations took hours to make people. I'm gonna show you through illustration how men actually fall in love with 3 important things, okay? I like to call this the slow drip method, okay? Or the slow burn, my fault. That's why this is burning, right? And the way that the slow burn works is that, one, it requires a regulated nervous system. If you don't have a regulated nervous system, you're gonna look true try hard when you apply this, right? And if you were raised and you didn't get the right amount of validation, right? Some women might get too sexual too soon, okay? And this is usually a compulsion. You can't help this. You either get needy and creepy or sexy and freaky, okay? Now look, the reason why I call it a slow burn is because this is what I call crackhead love, where you start fast, a lot of love bombing, right? And then there is a fast dip, right? Why? Because anything that starts fast ends fast, and this is usually toxic and it hurts a lot. This one though is more consistent, is more of the slow burn, where people fall in love through more of like a slow process. There might be a dip here, but it progresses evenly, and then there's a quick shift where things happen a little bit more quicker, right? The thing is that this is more consistent, right? And this requires a certain level of self-esteem, right? You may not get that quick validation from that guy that you need in order to feel comfortable, right? And this is why it requires a regulated nervous system, and I'm gonna show you towards the end how to do that, right? And if you do this method, you can tell people you watch my channel. If you do the crackhead love, don't tell people you watch my channel, not yet, okay? Wait till you're ready to do this and then you can recommend me to your friends. So what are the ways? Well, the first way is the male way of falling in love, which is vasopressin love, okay? Mind you people, this took days to make, so y'all better appreciate these illustrations. So what's a vasopressin love? Well, vasopressin is perfect, one, for avoidant men. A lot of y'all ladies like avoiding guys, okay? Because usually those are the good-looking guys, those are the successful guys, those are the guys that have visually what women want. And through vasopressin love is how you make it. When you learn how to activate a man's vasopressin, you make him fight for you. This is how he feels like he needs to defend you. Like, this is how he feels that when he says, she's mine, I protect her, right? That's what makes you feel secure when you learn how to use, how to trigger the vasopressin in a guy, right? And the goal for it is to tackle challenge. The goal of vasopressin is to tackle challenges together to create a relationship morale. Meaning, relationship morale is very similar to troops morale, where you guys fight together and have victories, and those victories and overcoming challenges makes you feel closer to your veterans, right? To the people who you're fighting with in basketball. You can make friends, really good friends, through basketball. Why? Because you guys play together so often that you guys develop a relationship. You guys win together and lose together, right? And the struggle of battle is what makes you guys grow close together. Which strengthens romantic love. This is what makes a guy feel like you're his friend. Learning how to use vasopressin is what makes a guy feel like you're my best friend. Okay, and this is not enough though. Okay, this is not enough. Vasopressin is not enough. A big portion, but people bond as teammates, but sometimes they're not friends, right? So you can use vasopressin where people bond as teammates, but it's not enough for them to be best friends, right? Where a lot of basketball players will tell you that they have a lot of teammates that were good teammates, but they didn't hang out outside of basketball. And it's kind of similar, where you guys relate, you guys have some good sex, but you guys just don't connect. It's because you're missing the other portion. So it promotes protective behavior, and this is the friendship part of the relationship, and it actually promotes commitment, actually. Now, the next one that I want you guys to focus on is oxytocin. Now this is where the fuzzy feelings come in, okay? This is what I call the female method of bonding. Vasopressin was the male method of bonding, right? Oh yeah, let's hike together. Yeah, let's play basketball together. Yeah, right? This is where, oh baby, look at me in the eyes and feel my soul. That fucking shit, right? Right? But if you make the vasopressin, you can actually make this happen easier. The female method of bonding, it's all about relaxing him. The challenges, vasopressin is all about getting that adrenaline up. This one is about relaxing him and hypnotizing them motherfuckers to sleep, right? This is actually what heals attachment wound. If you have attachment wounds, you need oxytocin. And you need to have enough oxytocin receptors through having low cortisol levels in order for you to actually be healed, and for him to actually be healed, right? And this is what heals attachment wounds, right? It makes conflict resolution much easier. So if you guys, rather than going Bronx mode together, right? When you're able to have, when you're able to bond through oxytocin, you don't go Bronx mode, meaning you guys argue, but in a calm, relaxed, non-going to prison way, okay? So when you guys have conflict through oxytocin, the conflict doesn't break you guys apart. It actually bonds you guys better. So there's nothing that could stop you guys. And it makes men want to stay faithful, right? Because when he has that emotional bond with you, where he feels like he can't replace you, a lot of guys don't cheat when they have this. And usually this means that you guys don't rely on dopamine. And don't rely on crazy experiences. You guys rely on simple experiences. So that's why when he meets a girl and she's a homewrecker, right, and she uses dopamine to draw him in, he's full of oxytocin. That motherfucker's not gonna cheat, and not because you're gonna put him on child support, but because he actually feels a deep connection and he doesn't want to hurt you. It increases his empathy for you. It makes him consider you whenever he makes a decision. So, but what blocks it? Cortisol. So if he was raised in an unstable household, he doesn't know he has high cortisol levels, right? If he fears commitment, that high cortisol will block the oxytocin, right? So he might be having oxytocin through his body, but because he has high cortisol, the receptors get blocked, right? So you feel the oxytocin, but he doesn't. You feel the chemistry, but he doesn't. He just sees you as needy and creepy, right? So this increases your empathy and trust. So if it doesn't trust you, you got to learn how to use this, right? Higher levels of this early in the relationship. This is why it's so important to emphasize this and learn how to release oxytocin in him. Predicts relationship success. So you guys will become this rather than a couple from the Bronx, right? So that's the oxytocin bond. You must have the oxytocin bond. Now the next thing is that, and I'm gonna show you when I'm done explaining to you the three things, I'm gonna show you how to release those hormones inside of a man in a way that is actually predictable, rather than just doing circles and doing spinneroonies and being needy and creeping him out and then telling people you watch my channel. You guys can do it the right way, and then you guys can say you watch Father Alex, right? Boring time. Okay. By the way, people, we're having an art event in New York City this weekend. If you guys want to come, just let me know in the comments down below. Boring time. Once you have vasopressin, once you have oxytocin, boring time is what makes a man, what makes all of these things accumulate over the months, right? So that means you guys do the activities that I'm gonna tell you guys how to release oxytocin. You guys do everything that I tell you guys on how to release vasopressin, and then you guys spend boring time. That means walking a motherfucking dog, right? Doing simple things. Why simple things? Well, because those simple things is what makes a guy remember you. When you think of your childhood, you don't think of the one time, maybe you did, right? You don't think of the highest moments. Whenever you think of your parents, you think of my mom cooked me this, or my dad would always take me to the park. Must be nice. Oh, my mom always took me to the baseball games. Must be nice, right? Right? You remember the simple, consistent things you did on a consistent basis, not the highs, okay, and not the lows, because the brain suppresses that. Boring time and learning how to create that is the key to bringing all of this together, right? And this is why you can't speed this shit up. So, how do you do that? Well, vasopressin. How do you bond with vasopressin? Right? So remember, it's all about overcoming challenges together. Doesn't mean that a fucking alligator is chasing you guys, but that you guys overcome a challenge, either high or low. So that means you guys problem solve together. Maybe you guys play a puzzle. Just make sure not to play Monopoly. That breaks up couples. Maybe you guys are trying to solve a business. Maybe you guys are playing a video game and you guys are playing together, not against each other, but together. You guys high five each other, right? Maybe you guys are lost, and because you have and you guys are trying to find a solution, and you guys find a solution, you guys high five each other. Vasopressin, right? Maybe you guys learn a new skill together. Maybe you guys learn how to draw. Maybe you guys learn how to garden, right? Because these situations create conflict, some form of conflict, right? And they force you guys to either separate because you guys cannot solve conflict, or grow closer together, right? So maybe you guys learn basketball, maybe you guys learn piano, maybe you guys learn bike riding, maybe you guys do a 30-day challenge of meditation, you guys do it together, right? Maybe you guys have shared travels and travel together. Maybe you, rather than going to a restaurant, you cook together, or maybe you say one week you cook for me, next week you cook for I cook for you, or maybe you guys have a conjunction cooking, right? Maybe you guys prepare something, right? You guys have some shared experiences. Maybe you guys go laser tagging, right? You guys make sure that you guys have boring time, and then every now and then these types of challenges, right? And maybe you guys team up in a competitive activity, right? With what you call it? With this girl, I used to travel together, right? We used to go hiking together. Father Alex doesn't do fucking hiking, okay? But we used to go hiking because I enjoyed cooking with the fucking thing, with the car. What do you call that? The black thing? Cooking together, right? But the point is, I like doing it. I don't know why, but I like the cooking part, right? And it was a challenge, but it was fun, right? When we sat down and we were tired, and then we would cook the meal, I was like, oh man, that was good, right? Oh yeah, that was good. Oh God, he was a guy. Yeah, that's just my voice. I'm imitating her. Or you guys have projects together, right? So maybe you guys build something, a model, or maybe you guys are gonna work out together. Maybe you guys go on a diet together, right? Or maybe you guys want to build a certain amount of muscle, right? It doesn't matter. Do it together. That's why even raising kids, right? That does that. You guys have bond through vasopressin, through raising a kid. If you guys have good conflict resolution, every day is a win together, right? But the key is to have enough oxytocin where this doesn't break up you guys, right? So learning new skills, overcoming challenges, problem solving, right? It can even be shit. When I used to work when I used to intern at a drug rehab, we had some couples there, and those couples, they overcame their drug addiction together. And you know what study? The dog's looking at me, right? El perrito wants to eat me. And it showed that couples who are in recovery together have a lower likelihood of divorce. And the reason why is because they actually it's a challenge that they're overcoming. They're always checking up on each other, right? And that challenge of trying to stay sober releases vasopressin. It just does, right? And it's not you're competing against each other. That's where the problem goes, right? When you guys compete against each other, you guys are doing it in a collaborative way, right? So vasopressin activities. Ways that it could be that maybe, for example, if I play basketball, you help me rebound. I'm not kidding with you, right? You help me rebound. Oh yeah, Father Alex, good job, right? And I help you maybe do this, or I'll spot you when you work out. I don't care. Just do things together every now and then. I remember with this girl, I used to do meditation, right? We would do a 1 hour meditation. I wouldn't do it alone. I'm like, okay, when you come, let's do 1 hour, because it's hard, right? But it's easier when you do it with somebody else. When you finish meditating, well, you high five each other. That's depressing, right? You're on my team, right? You're not on their team. You're with me. And as a guy, even playing as a guy, that's how you bond with a guy. Most of the bonding that I've done with my best friends were doing sports. Shit, even going out at bars and me getting rejected, and my friend encouraging me and said, "Go, fuck that shit, man. Go up to her and tell her she ain't shit." No, I'm kidding, right? But go out, that girl likes you, bro. Okay, let's try that one. We failed that night. We go home. It was when I was younger. We would smoke a blunt, have a halal, we call it a night. And that was a successful night, guys. That's depressing, right? We overcame challenges, right? And that is a lot of women just they think about. They prefer to do the oxytocin one, which is good, but you gotta have this one too, man. Like join him in some activities, right? Run a marathon together. Make that go and run it together. So now, how do you do the vasopressin, right? The oxytocin. This is how a mother makes a child fall in love, by the way. And this works on everyone. You just gotta make sure to have some vasopressin. That's why even with a mother, you have the dad that that plays with the kid, right? A child not only needs oxytocin, but it needs vasopressin. But this works on everyone. The problem is that some women are too stressed, that have too many resentments, that they can't do this. And I'm gonna show you guys how to overcome that resentment towards the end of the video. By the way, if you guys want to check out my course, The Commitment Formula, pre-order it. We're recording not this week, but next weekend. I swear to God, people, if I don't record by next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend, I'm giving the course away for free. Yeah, fuck that shit. We're recording. So yeah, how to do that? Well, first of all, it's you don't really need to do much to do this. All right, you're not doing any challenges, you're not climbing any hills, you're not doing any spinning routines. This is a very simple method, okay? One is non-sexual touches, okay? Non-sexual touches. So that means y'all are laying in bed and you guys are caressing each other. Check, yeah, even sex, but after sex, in my opinion, you caress each other, right? Some people call it aftercare. I fucking hate those therapy words, aftercare. Shut the fuck up, Jesus Christ. These fluffy words just irk the shit out of me, man. I swear to God, they make love sound so different than what I experienced. Oh God, anyways, man. So yeah, so non-sexual touch, that means skin to skin, right? Caressing each other, massaging each other. Maybe every day you guys must give each other a 5-minute massage, right? Maybe every day you caress him when he's done eating his food. You caress him and put that man to sleep, right? And then you use his face to check his phone, right? No, don't do that, right? So that non-sexual touch, right? So and it's not that. What it does is that, just like with a mother and her creepy kid, right? She's like, oh, little baby, fall asleep, little baby. And baby's like, okay. And that is so hypnotic, so soothing. Doing that through boring time, I mean through a simple moment. You guys are laying down, watching a movie, simple things. Not too many things in the way. Isolating the environment and making sure he's focused on you and you're focused on him. The skin to skin, soft caressing or even massages, and you guys exchange is what makes a man fall in love over time, right? So sex, massages, eye contact, right? You guys make eye contact, and literally eye contact and talking and listening to him while making eye contact, not looking at your phone, right? Because if you really notice, it's kind of crazy. When I walk around with couples, when I see couples, they're barely making eye contact. They're looking at their phone. You want to proactively not be on your phone. And the problem is this, is that if you're raising a household, think about it, a child that doesn't feel connected with their parents, what do you think the child is always going to be doing when they're having dinner with the family? On their phone. Why? Because that motherfucker resents his family. He has no connection, low oxytocin. So what he does, he resorts to dopamine. He resorts to go looking at things that are visually appealing, and having experiences that are above average in dopamine. So simple moments like looking and making eye contact isn't enough for them. What does that mean? Well, they have superficial relationships. They never really fall in love. They only fall in love or perceive love when you hurt their ego. And now that you're seeking validation, they're not seeking to connect. In fact, they secretly want revenge for you hurting their ego. So eye contact. If you can't make eye contact, talk about that. Say, what can we do to make that better? And if you can't, try to find a way, in a relaxed way, find a way. And if you can't find, I'm gonna show you guys how to do it. But this is important. You can't downplay how important eye contact is. Okay? And just too many couples are never truly listening and never truly seeing each other, laughing together. Right? Like laughing together. And it's not that you're not funny or he's not funny. Oh, but Father Alex, he's not funny. No, it's not that he's not funny. It's that you guys don't have a connection. The more you like someone, the funnier they get. It's just that simple. The funnier, look, man, I'm like, there's been women that like certain guys, and I'm like, he's not funny. Why is she laughing? And she's genuinely laughing. She's laughing because of how much she cares about him, how much she likes him. That's really what it is. And not the fact that he's like, oh, what's the worst time to have a heart attack? During the game of charades. He's not saying jokes, okay? It's just that you like him so much and you like her so much that she makes you laugh, right? So laughing together, and that usually means there's no conflict. And if there is conflict, it's calm. It's not Bronx mode, right? So that laughter, shared laughter, not only makes him feel like you're part of his team, but it makes him feel like you're someone special, right? So eating together, right? Not only do you guys cook together, vasopressin, then you guys eat together. It's very important to do that, right? Eating together. at home during, as I'm telling you, man, I don't know what, it's so important for it to be simple. Like, I want you guys to get out of the thought that it needs to be complicated, that you gotta do spinaroonies. Make this as simple as possible. Deep conversation. Oh geez, I was like, what the fuck is that? Deep conversation. So that means, how was your day? How did you feel? Or even having check-ins, weekly check-ins, where you say, okay, how was your week? How do we do? Did I communicate good? Was there some resentment that I did that you didn't like? Was there something? Having those channels of communication as open as possible, right? Saying, nah, you know what, this week I just feel like you were a little distant. And I say, oh yeah, it is very true. Sometimes I get uncomfortable, man. You were, I feel overwhelmed. Oh, how do you fix that? Well, okay, look, how about this? How about you give me some fucking space when I'm how about you give me some space when I get home? Give me 1 hour by myself, okay? And then blah 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 blah. Okay, it makes me sad that you want that, but I'll try that. I'm like, no, it's not that you should. Don't feel bad, man. I appreciate you. It's just that I need some distance. Like, how can I make sure that you don't take this personal? What can I do? Those types of conversations where you guys have conflict and you guys talk it out and then you make up for it. That's how you build that trust, that empathy, right? Because it's all about trust and empathy. Right? So soft touches, right? Sex does it too, right? Eye contact during sex too. Massages, laughing together, eating together, cooking together, deep conversation, and doing nothing, just being there, watching a movie, just and while holding hands or even touching each other's feet. Those simple things. The problem is this: I know it sounds simple. Most of the time, people are disconnected. They're on their phones. Yeah, I think I do that sometimes. I don't do that with the phone, but I do that with drawing. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. So, next one, right? People, y'all better appreciate this shit. This video took hours to make in terms of preparation. So, how do you allow this to happen? Because sometimes it's very difficult to do this because you have internal blockages. Okay, you will do this naturally if you do the two things that I'm going to talk about. You first, in order to apply this, you can't have resentments. Resentments is going to get in the way of this, okay? Now, I'm telling you, resentments is going to get in the way of this. You're going to project, you're going to push the guy away, or your resentment is going to trigger him to push you away. The source of your compulsive behavior comes from unprocessed resentment. Resentments that you've held inside for years. And the source of it is the source of most of your negative feelings is resentment. The anger you felt, the bitterness you feel towards society or you not succeeding it comes from resentment. You failed and you feel resentful. It's not that you failed, but that you reacted to failure with resentment, and now anything that adds to that accumulates over the years, and the resentment gets worse. And what it causes you is that it causes you to be attracted to the very people and the very thing that created the resentment, right? So if somebody ignored you as a child, you became resentful that they ignored you, and so you become attracted to someone who will ignore you too, which will add to the resentment, which will add to the narrative, and will create more of that abandonment, right? And so it's not about that. Another thing is that it's not about that you don't know how to do this, it's just that you pick the wrong guys to apply this in, right? The right guys, this becomes very easy to do. It becomes actually natural. With the wrong guys, no matter how much you try to do this, it's not going to work. But how do you fix that? Well, guess what? You're kind of blind if you have resentment. No matter how hard you try, you're going to keep attracting the same guy, and everyone is going to be able to tell but you. But you notice that you don't have the results that you want. So how do you do that? Well, identify that it's not that you're just mad at this situation. Identify the fact that in reality you have resentment from the past that you haven't let go of, and the reason you don't let go of it is because most likely you're right. You have a right to be mad. You genuinely had an unmet need. People did you dirty, and so you have every reason to be mad, but it doesn't help you. But just identify that the bitterness you feel. I remember, I was reading one of my diaries from a few years ago, and it's surprising reading my words. I literally wrote, I fucking hate women. They keep canceling on me. I was using Tinder, and women on Tinder, do you do that? But I was like, oh my God, I really hated women. And that's not that I hated you guys, right? I was resentful towards women of my age for just being so fucking, oh my God, Father Alex, it's coming out, look. I know, right? For being so inconsistent. Like, they'll say yes, to date you, and then they'll disappear. And I remember writing that and just getting angry. I remember that mindset. I've done a lot of work on myself. And a few days ago, I met a girl, right? This Egyptian looking lady, right? And she seemed really interested. But I'm like, she gives me vibes that she's kind of crazy. I don't know, I felt that. I was like, she gives me crazy vibes. And she was like, oh my God, you're so amazing. I saw your art. And I'm like, thank you. And she was like, let's hang out, sure. Next day I go with Instagram. You know what her full profile said? Instagram user. I remember when I was full of resentment, man, I would have smashed that computer. Now, I'm like, okay, I remember that. I know, I understand. I kind of predicted that. What's the difference? I let go of resentment, man. I forgave my mom for maybe not being perfect, right? I forgave a lot of people for hurting me. And without knowing, that doesn't trigger me no more. It doesn't. In fact, it turns me off and it makes me feel compassion, right? So what I'm trying to say is that your resentment is what's going to keep you finding guys that literally you can't do this with. So you learn how to let go of it. So how do you do that? Well, identify what you feel. The anger is resentment, and if not, ask yourself, okay, what caused? Like, you know, if you really notice, if you fight with your parents in the morning, you're gonna have a shitty day, right? If somebody rejects you, it's gonna ruin your day to a certain degree, right? Most of our negative feelings come from social negative feedback, right? Or unfair feedback. So you pray. And if you don't believe in God, you don't have to believe in God. You can just pray to the universe. And if you don't believe in anything, just give it a try, honestly. Just give it a try. You don't just say, oh, dude, just say, God, Father Alex said to pray. Just give it a try. You see what I'm talking about. It actually works. Pray to allow you to forgive. Allow you to forgive the people who hurt you the most. So when, for example, today, this guy, I was like, hey, I need to buy my ticket to New York. No. The ticket to New York, I was waiting in line and I had to leave, and the woman left, so I was next in line. But then he just sat down and looked at me. 10 seconds later, he was like, come through. I'm like, first of all, you did not need to wait those 10 seconds, motherfucker. Like, you were just staring at me. You were just rage baiting me. And I was like, yo, I got at 6 p.m. I missed my flight. All these people didn't tell me where my bus ticket was. He was like, oh, calm down, young man, one step at a time. And I'm like, yo, what do you mean calm down? I'm mad that nobody showed me where my bus was gonna be, and I missed it. He was like, one step, just the way, just his energy. Part of it was me, but it was because I was resentful for the staff. I couldn't tell me where the fuck my bus was going to Pennsylvania. They couldn't tell me, and I missed it. In that moment, I'm resentful. And I'm like, God, please allow me to forgive. Allow me to forgive this motherfucker, and allow me to forgive that bald fuck over there. Allow me to forgive. I got my ticket. I was still kind of angry, but it was lowering. As I was waiting, I saw the bald motherfucker. I'm not gonna call him that no more. And I looked at him. I didn't say sorry. I should have gone up and apologized. But he came up to me. He was like, "Sir, your bus is over there. Okay, just make sure to get it on time." I was like, "Thank you, bro. I appreciate it." That was my way of apologizing, right? And I let go of it. And let me tell you something. I didn't let go of it. I just asked God to remove it, and it went away. That resentment, if I would have held on to that, and that girl did that shit to me the next morning, I would have gotten pissed off. That's what I'm talking about. Everything that happens and throughout the day, observe when you feel like people are doing you wrong and when it builds up resentment. And every moment, just ask God to allow you to forgive him. Ask the universe, ask the Buddha, ask Allah, ask Hare Krishna, ask any God that you believe in. Allow me to forgive. It's going to remove that burden. It's going to allow you to attract people who are also emotionally healthy. Why? Because resentment attracts resentment. If you have an 80% level of resentment, you're going to get someone who is an 80%. You're not going to get someone who's a 10%. And the lower resentment you have, the longer the relationship you'll have, and the healthier. Write down resentments from the past. Write them down and pray to let go. Write down the resentments. You know, maybe dad didn't give you enough hugs. Write down that resentment. Write it down, and just every day write down your top 10 resentments from the past and read it and ask God to allow you to forgive. That will do so much more than 100 therapy sessions, man. I'm telling you, that will do so much more than watching 100 videos about how to make a guy like you. You're gonna have such a softness and such a feminine energy about you that's gonna attract the right guys into your life. This lowers cortisol levels, which allows love to flow. And if you're dating a guy who's resentful, your unresentful nature is also going to lower his resentfulness. It heals you. Your oxytocin and your capacity to flood your system with oxytocin, anyone around you will be healed. Fuck, even people, if you forgive people for hurting you, shit, you might notice they might even ask for forgiveness. Oh my God, Father Alice is smacking us. Yeah! They might even ask for forgiveness. Oh my God, he's abusive. Sorry. Hey man, sometimes you don't know things about people, right? Imagine if I was abusive. That'd be crazy. That'd be so disappointing, man. Oh my God, Father Alice smacks this girl. Oh my God, that'd be crazy. The next thing is have secure attachment experiences. People, I told you, man. This took 2 hours to draw paint. No, 3 hours actually. Now, what do I mean? Well, sometimes you only have negative reactions from people. Your parents didn't make you feel accepted. And so when you go to school, you behave in a way that makes your classmates reject you. You expect from others what you see at home, and you create that reality. And that creates low self-esteem, right? You never had somebody smile at you unconditionally and accept you for who you are. Even if they accepted you, it's because you had to earn it, never unconditional. Low self-esteem from negative reactions causes you to chase validation because you don't feel accepted by the caregiver, by your caregivers. And it creates chase instincts. These is what you call attachment wounds. And in order to fix this, you require positive interactions, positive unconditional interactions. Interactions where you're vulnerable and because you're vulnerable, they react to you in a positive way. An example could be you telling somebody that you're depressed, or you're telling somebody that a very vulnerable thing, because you've opened up and you told them something that's very vulnerable to you. That person's reaction to you has more power than somebody who doesn't know those vulnerabilities, and that's why it's so important. This is when a psychologist comes into place, where you tell your vulnerabilities and they react to you in a positive way. But there are better ways to do that actually, because when you pay for a psychologist, you don't feel that oxytocin. You don't get the feeling of like, why are they so nice to me? Like, I'm not even paying them and they just like me for me. You don't get that from a psychologist. So this is where you got to go a different route to fix those attachment wounds that will allow you to feel cortisol, which then will allow you to bond with vasopressin and spend boring time without needing extra. Getting those positive reactions is very important to heal those attachment wounds. So what do you create that? Well, free support groups. If you have attachment wounds, find a codependency-free group therapy group. If you have individual therapy, I prefer that you do group therapy. Why? Because when you talk in a group and you speak about your vulnerabilities and you cry, other people see you and you feel their compassion. That heals you more. You're not just seeing compassion from fucking Bob the therapist. You're seeing compassion from Jenny the attendee. She's like, oh yeah, I heard what you said. I totally relate. She sees you, and there's a calming energy because you're not paying her anything. You're getting a genuine reaction. Those positive, genuine, empathic reactions heals you, which allows you to apply these strategies, which allows you to change your taste. You're like, oh wow, they treat me good. Why are you treating me like shit? I don't like this. You're too inconsistent. My body has learned and has seen what good interactions are, and you're giving me something that's negative. And I learned that through having those positive reactions in the people in my life, for example, through therapy. Free support groups. If you can't do online in real life, go to a Zoom. Go through a Zoom support group. Helping others, right? Walking dogs, and for example, it can even be walking dogs. Like you walk a dog for free. Just say, hey, can I walk this dog? Go to the dog place and walk those dogs. You get a positive reactions from dogs. You're doing something positive towards others. You feel that oxytocin. But then the people that work there, they look at you and say, oh my God, you're such a great person. Good job. Oh, thank you so much. That heals you. That positive reaction is what does it for you, right? Joining a church or any religious group, you're gonna get that from that church. If you don't believe in religion, join a meditation group, right? Or join a Buddhist group. I don't care. The point is, find a place where you get unconditional positive reactions. It's very important, right? You need secure attachment reactions. Online Zoom groups, open mic and poetry, where you could open up about your issues, your sadness. For example, we do a poetry club, and in a poetry club, we talk about a topic. For example, like I read a poetry about resentments, right? And then we sit down and then we talk about. Some people give feedback on what I talked about, and they open up and say, "Yo, this happened. My father hurt me," and you actually open up. Somebody else goes up and they talk about abandonment issues, and then somebody raises their hand and say, yeah, that happened to me when I was a child. And that poetry thing and people opening up and telling about each other's problems in person, and then me saying goodbye, me knowing your weaknesses, me knowing your vulnerability and smiling at you, knowing those vulnerability, people, that heals you, that lowers your cortisol level, which allows you to feel more oxytocin, which allows you to heal those attachment wounds, and which allows you to develop the taste of the men that can give you this, right? Therapy and group therapy, right? And when you do this, the compulsion to chase, the compulsion to do too much, the compulsion to not be willing to walk away goes away. And all you're left with is your true self, who you are at the core of your being. And any guy who's toxic, you're gonna get turned off. Any guy who has a positive attachment, any guy who has a positive, a healthy attachment, you're gonna be attracted to them. And what's funny is that you're not even gonna know whether or not he's healthy. You're just gonna be attracted to him. And then this becomes natural, all right? By the way, people, I'm gonna sell this book one day. This is such a nice book, and this is so fun doing these. And the key to this, and you do this over time. If you don't have the patience, get some positive reactions from people. That's gonna heal the positive reactions, positive interactions with people that know your weaknesses. Will give you the patience because it lowers your compulsivity, right? And just give it time. Don't speed it up, right? What happens is that a man, if you do this, they'll fall in love within 2 or 3 months. They'll be direct about what they want. If they're not direct, that's going to cause you anxiety. And because you're doing all the other work, you're going to say, ooh, he's causing me anxiety when all these people are giving me positive reactions. That means that motherfucker's toxic. Do this and you're going to find someone. And if you don't find someone, you're still going to be happy. At the end of the day, you win. This was a very in-depth video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. So remember, this is the slow drip method. No, the slow burn method, where you make a guy fall in love through this strategy. You use vasopressin, you use oxytocin, and you use boring time. You're having simple moments. Let me say one thing. And boring time is doing things together. That means you guys walk a dog together while holding hands. That means you guys have a picnic together. That means you guys sit down and I read a book and you read a book. In fact, my favorite activities was going to the coffee shop, drawing, and she would knit. You know, going to the coffee shop, reading a book, and she would do her homework. I don't have to say shit. You know, that was my way of bonding. And these boring, and as long as you make it a routine, consistently, once a week, twice a week, right? Over the months, you develop such a deep bond that the guy's not gonna want to cheat on you. Just not, right? You don't rely on dopamine. You rely on the hormones that a child falls in love with, right? Anyways, man, let me know what you guys think about this. For one-on-one coaching, go to mindfulattraction.org. Sorry I haven't posted a video in months, but yeah, we're back. Take care.